What's good, YouTube, man? It's your boy dMillionaire back with another video. And as y'all can tell from the title, man, we got the truth about Bronny James playing in the NBA. Look, y'all, as y'all know, Bronny James was drafted 55th pick to the Lakers. And yeah, man, I think it's about time we begin to accept the fact that Bronny has been drafted, and he's gonna be a member of the league. So I want to see what Jimmy got to say about it. I know he's gonna probably break it down, give us some good little numbers. So let's see what we got.
With the 2024 NBA draft in the books, there is one major discussion that has dominated the NBA space over the last week. It isn't about the #1 overall pick. It isn't about the outlook of these teams going into next season. It's about a late second-round pick. And for good reason, because his name is LeBron James. And he's gonna play in the NBA with LeBron James. It's a weird and unprecedented circumstance that the NBA has never encountered before. A player who many fans consider to be the greatest of all time playing in the NBA with his own son. A story so strange, you'd think the NBA scriptwriters outsourced their work to ChatGPT, picked the most batshit result, and called it a day. But after 2 years
That's
of
crazy. Wait, what did that say?
Pick the most batshit.
Bronny James enters the NBA draft. He's not ready. Good chance he goes undrafted, but LeBron's the GOAT and can do whatever he wants. So after the hiring of the co-host of his podcast to be the head coach of the Lakers, he convinces the organization to use their late second-round pick to select Bronny James, and together they become the first father-son duo in NBA history. I ain't gonna lie, when you put it like that, it sounds all nice, right?
Result and called it a day. But after 2 years of speculation, we now know with certainty that Bronny James will be an NBA player. And right on cue, the criticism of his merits and value as a future player in the NBA have already came pouring in. Scouts and GMs claiming Bronny as a prospect isn't even worth using a late second-round pick on, and that the real value lies in his last name and the leverage it comes with. But how valuable is a second-round pick, really? And is Bronny a legitimate NBA player, or is he only in conversation solely because of who his dad is?
Let's see what you got for us, Jimmy. I know you're gonna tell us the real. You're gonna break it down.
I gotta be on the floor with Bronny.
Today's video is sponsored by SeatGeek. Some other offers like SeatApp, punch in the pro time All-Star. This is Ken Griffey, former major leaguer and 3-time All-Star. This is Ken Griffey Jr., son of Ken Griffey. And in 1990, these two did one of the coolest things a father and son can possibly do. They played in the MLB together. And when I say together, I don't just mean they played in the MLB at the same time. They were on the same team. In fact, they weren't just on the same team, they shared the same outfield with each other. It's probably the rarest and most badass thing you'll ever see in sports.
That's hard.
Making it to the big leagues is one thing, but playing in the big leagues next to your kid is a club exclusive to only these two. And if that wasn't incredible enough, on September 14th, 1990, the Griffeys pulled off something that you will never see again in your lifetime.
An inch back up there.
What, back-to-back home runs or something?
Well hit to center field. Devon White going back. Gone! A 2-run home run.
Bang. Home run.
One well to left center field. Dante Bichette. Back-to-back home run.
That's tough.
What else can these guys do?
Father, son,
The Griffeys were
back-to-back
great,
home
and
runs.
they
That's
were the
tough.
first and only father-son duo in the history of Major League Baseball. But they weren't the first father-son duo in professional sports. This is Gordie Howe, one of the greatest players to ever touch the ice. He won 4 Stanley Cups, 6 MVPs, held the NHL record for total career points at the time of his retirement, and is a member of the NHL's 100th anniversary team. Gordie had an incredible pro career
He won
as a
6
hockey
Stanley Cups
and yet
and
out of all of his
4 Stanley Cups and
accomplishments,
6
the coolest thing
MVPs.
he
Yeah.
ever did was this. This is Mark and Marty Howe, Gordie's sons, and he played professional hockey with them in both the WHA and the NHL for 5 seasons.
Wow.
Now, if you're thinking, that guy looks a little old to be playing professional sports, you're right. Gordie began his career in the NHL in 1946 when he was just 18 years old. By the time he retired for good, he was 51. A career that stretched from the 1940s to the 1980s. And only with a career like this can a player even have a shot at playing in the league together with their son. Why exactly am I talking about home runs and Gordie Howe? Well, because they're awesome, but also because of these two and what they're about to accomplish in their own sport. LeBron and Bronny James, who are on track to being the first father and son duo to play together in the NBA, an idea that seemed far-fetched when LeBron first mentioned it years ago, but has now become a reality. But how legitimate is Bronny's spot in the league? And is the backlash towards the Lakers selecting him with a second-round pick in the draft warranted? Well, to answer this question, we first need to know just how good Bronny is as a prospect and as an incoming NBA
Yeah, like
player.
what do
Right
the
now,
GMs see?
NBADraft.net has Bronny rated at an 88 overall across their 12 prospect metrics. This overall rating puts Bronny on the lower end of all second-round picks and future prospects over the last 3 years, but well within range of your typical mid to late first rounder. Now, here are Bronny's numbers during his one season of college
So he's
basketball.
6'2", so he's 6'2", 210. Okay.
5 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists a game on 47, 30, 69% shooting splits. Now these numbers, especially from a relatively undersized guard, do not scream NBA potential. But for perspective, here are the average collegiate stats from every late second-round pick that played college basketball over the last 5 years. And even when compared to late second-round picks, Bronny's numbers aren't nearly as impressive. In fact, Bronny is arguably the least productive college prospect in NBA history. Here is a list of every player.
Bro, it's crazy because Jimmy being objective with it, like he's just stating the facts. But it's just funny to hear him say that.
Player in the entire history of the NBA to be selected in the first 2 rounds of the draft that averaged less than 5 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists a game in college.
Bronny.
And that's it. Just 3 players who were selected in the NBA draft with college numbers equal to or less than Bronny's college numbers. Pair that with the fact that these prospects had at least the benefit of having NBA frames and physical tools to be potentially built off of.
Yeah, I mean, he, at least bro was 6'8", 215. Like, you know what I'm saying? Bro was 6'11". Like that, you can work with that. You know what I'm saying? You can work with a 6'8", 6'11". 6'2", undersized. What do you, I mean, you know, that's what I mean. Like,
the NBA draft becomes more and more difficult to make. But to really demonstrate exactly where Bronny falls amongst other second-round picks, here is a chart of every college basketball player selected in the second round of the draft.
The 210 do sound kind of Aki though. I ain't gonna lie.
Box plus minus on the
x-axis 6'2", 210 sound kind of Aki.
On the y-axis, 298 selections spanning 10 drafts. More than half of these players not even in the NBA today. Where's Bronny? He's right here. Most late draft picks, even the guys who go on to not even make a roster in the league, were first or maybe second options in their college program. Bronny, on the other hand, was an undersized rotational player on a sub-500 team. It doesn't take an NBA scout to know that Bronny James's collegiate career wasn't that of your typical second-round draft pick. But how good is the typical second-round pick? With the rise of second-round sleepers in recent history, most notably players like Nikola Jokic, Jalen Brunson, Herb Jones, and Jordan Clarkson, the potential value of a second-round pick in the NBA draft is about as high as it's ever been. With the help of advanced metrics, the curtain has been pulled back on the value even a solid role player can provide to a winning team. Prospect scouting has gotten more comprehensive than ever before, and these second-round picks have held considerable weight.
That's what I'm saying.
Trades around the NBA. But how valuable does that truly make them? Gathered from 10 years worth of draft classes from 2013 to 2022, data shows that on average, out of the 30 players drafted in the second round, about 6 of them won't even suit up in the NBA. That's about 1 in every 5 players selected in the second round that will never see a minute of action in the league. Out of the 24 players who do make a roster in their rookie season, about 17 of them end up playing a second season in the NBA.
Dang.
Of those 17 players that are good enough to stick around for more than a few seasons, only about 8 of them will go on to be a role player or rotational level player. Go one step further, and on average, only 4 of these second round picks will become a starting caliber player in their career. That's about 1 in every 8 players selected in the second round. And
That's crazy.
finally, of the 298 players selected in the second round of the draft from 2013 to 2022, only 2 of them became all-stars.
Who are those?
Nikola
Jokic and
Jalen
Brunson.
Brunson. If we think about the last 10 years of second-round picks on a scale of box plus minus, with Nikola Jokic being on one end and the players who don't even make a roster.
I forgot about my guy, Harold, bro. That was one of my. I actually liked Harold, bro. That boy, Montrezl Harold, bro. Hey, his energy was crazy, bro.
Then most players aren't in the middle. In fact, they're not even close. Most second-round picks fall way down here, somewhere in between what Basketball Reference would classify as an end-of-the-bench player.
That's crazy.
And out of the league.
The way this would make it sound, Jokic is the greatest draft pick of all time. Look, he's almost in 10. BPM, I don't know what BPM is. Dinwiddie 0.1. Dinwiddie's so fucking ass. Like, Dinwiddie barely over a 6-man, bro. That's crazy. Nembhard under a role player. But, I mean, ain't gonna lie, I'll take Nembhard over Dinwiddie, bro.
When considering how to use a second-round
Dinwiddie's so trash,
idea
man.
of drafting a guy who ends up being a real contributing player, a starter, or even a future MVP, the perceived opportunity cost can tend to outweigh the actual value of the pick. Drafting a player of this caliber in the second round is like finding a diamond in the rough.
Thanks.
But giving away a pick or a potential player that ends up being of this caliber would be a mistake that no front office wants to live with. But that doesn't change the fact that the vast majority of the time, these second-round picks in the NBA draft go on to be these end-of-the-bench level players. Just out of curiosity, does anyone know who the last few 55th overall picks in the draft were and how their careers are turning out?
Give Santos, I heard of him because I think he got some minutes with Golden State.
Has played 23 games in 2 seasons. The 55th pick in 2021,
Aaron Wiggins
is actually having himself a solid career so far. But the one before him is out of the league.
J.
The one before that one is also out of the league. He's also out of the league.
I don't even know what that is.
Out of the league. Was never in the league, out of the league, and out of the league. As a late second rounder, if Bronny can contribute on any level in the NBA, he has already exceeded his draft value. And that's really the proposition in all of this. It would be incredible if Bronny developed into a Davion Mitchell or Aaron Holiday caliber player. But the reality is if Bronny can provide any net positive value to his team, then selecting him in the draft will have been a great pick. There has never been a player projected to go this late in the draft with any expectations on what they should or will do in the league. These late draft picks have historically been reserved for players who might have been overlooked, players who maybe underperformed their potential at the collegiate level, players who organizations are willing to roll the dice on because there's virtually no opportunity cost associated with late second-round picks. It's all upside at this point in the draft. If they don't work out, well, that's typical. If they do work out, well, then they've beaten the odds. And the very large point being overlooked in all of this talk about potential and value to the team and X's and O's, LeBron James has the opportunity to play basketball with his kid in the NBA. Let's just be honest. This is blatant nepotism, a classic case of it's who you know, not what you know. But nepotism has ran rampant in the NBA for decades, and no one cared. Countless players, coaches, executives, owners who got their shot with far less merit than Bronny has. But now here we are sitting around talking about the integrity.
Hold on, but what example of nepotism are we gonna use? Like, are we gonna say like, okay, JJ Redick got the Lakers job because he was on LeBron's podcast and he's close friends with LeBron? I don't think that's like I don't know. The people tried to say like Steph Curry and Del Curry and Seth Curry, that was a case of nepotism. Bro, Steph Curry and Seth Curry were raw, bro, valid. Same with Clay and his pops. Like, I don't understand, like, how that could be considered nepotism, but I see what he's saying, though. I mean, he's basically saying that Bronny got no risk associated with him, bro. Like, he's basically just you're really just rolling the dice. Like the 55th pick was gonna be a roll of the dice anyway, so you might as well roll the dice with LeBron James' son. When you put it like that, it's like, okay, I get what you're saying, but it's like
who's played 21 seasons in the league and his son because they made the most of an otherwise paltry 55th pick in the draft, and the nepotism leaned in their favor this time around. We can criticize this decision all we want, preach about how this move was a breach of ethics, a slap in the face of the game we love. But then we would all be hypocrites. Because there isn't a man on earth who would pass up on the chance to play in the NBA with his son, even if it meant pulling a few strings to make it happen. As much as Bronny benefits from sharing the same last name as arguably the best basketball player of all
but what
time,
I think
that tag has also came with equal scrutiny.
I think we're not mad. I mean, okay, I ain't gonna say we because people are mad. People are mad for their own reasons. I'm not mad at all, honestly, to be real. I mean, at the very core, I could care less. I'm happy for the man. He made it to the league. But I think what the core people are mad about is that it's not the fact that he made it to the league, is that just, yeah, obviously we all would try to get our son, you know what I'm saying, our sons to the league. If we had a chance to do it, we would pull the strings to make it happen. It's just like, for what the league, for as hard as it is to make the NBA, it's like it's kind of a slap in the face a little bit to the hard work that people have put in to make it to the league, and it just felt like it was an undeserved spot. That's what people are mad about. I feel like it's not necessarily.
But we've also
just,
seen a late second-round flyer get completely dissected and criticized like this. LeBron and Bronny have a chance.
But at the same time, though, we wouldn't have cared about the fucking 55th pick if it wasn't Bronny. So we should just maybe that, and that's why. That's what I say. That's the reason why I'm like, give Bronny some slack. Because to be real, we wouldn't have cared about the 55th pick at all if it wasn't Bronny. So let's go back. Let's not care about the 55th pick. Let's let him be who he gonna be. Because hey, you never know. He could be tough. But hey, man, that's all for this video, man. Hope y'all enjoyed. If y'all did, make sure y'all leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, turn on post notifications. I'm holla at y'all on the next one, man.